Ready, books. Alright, you guys, I'm back with another banger of a video, a little head canon video real quick. I'm going to talk about different forms, or a form I would like to see in Ippo more often, and how I would advance it. Now, if it's your first time to the channel, thank you for giving me your time and attention. If you be so kind, taking that like button, comment below how I do in this video, and subscribe. Hit my community page to vote on our polls, and please enjoy yourself. So, the form I'm talking about is the Ecstasy state. It's mostly used by Brian Hawk and Mashiba during the Saramura match, which is an insane match, one of my top 3 in the entire verse. But besides, it gives you increased bloodlust, and if you don't hurt someone, you want to be laid with a woman. That's pretty much all it does. It doesn't give you anything besides that, you know. But the look of it is just so cool. Essentially, your sclera of your eyes they become darker, usually bloodshot red in Brian Hawk's case, and you get the most evil, sinister grin across your face. It is wild. But besides from aesthetics, nothing really goes on with it, you know? So I thought, even though Ippo is steeped in realism, which I do like about it, if it was to bring a form out, how would I change it? How would it look? How would I want it to look? And now you gotta talk about the obvious ones. Everyone has Spirit, the glowing green eyes. Those happen pretty commonly in the show. As well as Takamura, who had his eyes were actually blue. When he snapped, it was almost like the bloodlust, but also that spirit that brought him back, you know. So I wonder if the eye color changes almost like lightsabers in Star Wars. That would be cool too. Never George Fine does hit more on it and what the eye color does mean. Or it was just a choice, you know, like Aaron and his Flame Titan at the end of season 1, which is dope. Never came back to me. But the way I would advance Ecstasy State, I actually started looking at another anime manga called Kengan Ashura, which if you haven't checked out yet, is dope. I would say go for it. Give it a look. It's on Netflix as well. Enjoy yourself. Now, in Kengan Ashura, one of the main abilities of the main character, Tomo Akita, is called Possessing Spirit. You know, also called Advance or Alone before he gets it back. He gets his memory back of the name of the move. And essentially, his skin becomes more vascular, bloodshot red, as well as a sclera. He has a sinister grin as well, which, you know, almost like Ecstasy State, but looks a little bit better. And the move itself, what it entails is increasing your heart rate and your metabolic rate. So now you're putting out more velocity, more ferociousness, and more damage because you're moving so much quicker. The downside to it, though, is that it increases your heart rate so much your heart could explode. You get a small cut, you could bleed out because you're having so much more blood flow, and you lose your memory and you have hallucinations if you go on it for too long. You know, there's gears to it: first, second, and third gear, and usually the best gear to stay at is the first gear because it's moderate, but the best rolls at the third gear. But there, people usually go berserk. And I like that it has such a good drawback, you know, because essentially it's blood doping. You know, just take blood out, put it in, use blood doping, get more oxygen in your body, move faster. Think of Gear Second from One Piece. But the downside is you losing a lot of your internal organs and hurting yourself, and you basically losing your mind every time you use it. So it kind of keeps it at bay, which I do like, because you don't want to just spam a special move because it makes it not as special, you know. And in the universe, there's actually a counter to move called Removal by the Kure clan, which is a clan of assassins. And this move, almost like Possessing Spirit, it also changes the skin color, usually about purplish, more vascularity. And this move, instead of just increasing your speed and your philosophy, what it does is remove the limiters in your body. So normally people use about 30% of their actual strength, but this takes it all. You can use 100% of your strength and your latent talent and ability. So how good you ever going to be, you'll be that good when you use this technique. You know, not too many downsides on this. Just the fact that you have to be born with the ability to use it. You can't really learn it. You know, Omo was taught the Possessing Spirit, but the removal technique, you got to kind of have it in you already. You know, so boom, those are those two. I picked those two out because of the look they give. Well, almost like the entire body is changing and not just the eyes are changing for Ecstasy. And now going even deeper to my my theory headcanon, I went back down to the first season of Baki, which is chef's kiss. The first 2 seasons, from the Delinquent Days to Maximum Tournament. Beautiful writing. I loved it. I wish I would used Jack's mom more. She came in at the end, but hey, beggars can't be choosy, can we? In the original series, it shows how Baki not only gets his scars, but gets one of his special abilities, which is endorphins. Which, he twists his ear, and it lowers his I shouldn't say pain resistance. He is basically a painkiller. He can't feel pain, essentially. Just he feels pain even less, so he can fight even harder. Which is a dope ability, because you see the fights Baki get into. If he felt regular people's pain as regular people do, it'd be terrible. He'd be blasting out. And then I looked at a counter to that move, which is called Adrenaline, which is also used by Gaia. Which when Gaia first popped up, he was that boy. He was that guy. So Gaia's move is Adrenaline, in which he can pump adrenaline in his body to increase his stamina, his speed, even his senses. And what's good about this is he can pick the amount he wants to put into his body, how much he actually wants to, pump up, build himself up. It reminds me of a show, I'm forgetting the name, I'll put in the comments. It was a vampire, and essentially he's for the Catholic Church. He was a vampire, and whenever he would fight, he could pick how much percentage of his vampirism he wanted to use to actually win the fight, And I like that, the percentage of the output coming through. Like, I'm not using the whole percentage, almost like another gear, second gear, third gear, not all the way, Which, to be fair, Ippo does do in a sense. Like, think of Itagaki and his speed and things like that, or Vogue and his max vigilance, things like that, But I want to make it a little bit more anime, a little bit super anime. I know I like the realism, but if I had to just be gluttonous, I would do it this way. I'll definitely keep the Ecstasy state, go deeper into it, but I would put the painkillers of endorphins in the Ecstasy state, so you feel definitely less pain. And I will put the look of the possessing spirit, which the blood doping nature of it, I will put that in there, as well as the removal technique. So you have, I guess removal and endorphin is kind of the same thing, because you feel less pain, go harder. So I guess that ate that up. But I'll put the percentage of adrenaline. He doesn't go all the way full ecstasy, but percentage of ecstasy. They can put it to where like he's going, I don't know, a little bit harder on one side, or he's going like first gear or second gear. Only one of his eyes turns red, not the other eye. Whoever will have it next, because it's seen as a bad technique or technique associated with villains, it have to be another fighter coming in, which I hope is like an Emmanuel Augustus type fighter. I hope that type of fighter fights Miyata, because he needs a wild boy to fight, because he hasn't fought a wild boy just yet. But yeah, those are my ramblings for the day. I want to see more Ecstasy state. I want to see Ecstasy state where the whole body is changing colors and looking more sinister. I would love to see more aspects of that in the show, or even like those who didn't know Joe, the glowing eyes that Carlos Rivera had when he had fought against Joe for real. Just to start, like, he starts off the glowing eyes and they turn red, and then Baki, when he uses endorphins, his pupils actually shake back and forth. So I thought it was a good look. Maybe that, and then with the adrenaline, his head, a guy's head that shows his inside of his brain kind of shooting off his receptors. Just just little tidbits, nothing that has to be in the show, but things I would like to see in the show. Anyway, y'all, thank you for spending time listening to my ramblings. If you can, please take that like button, subscribe, comment below how I did in this video. Let me know if any things you want me to watch or talk about. And yeah, have a great one. Work. That's what I say. Work.